2026. Civilization is to groups what intelligence is to individuals. It is a means of combining the intelligence of many to achieve ongoing group adaptation. Civilization, like intelligence, may serve well, serve adequately, or fail to serve its adaptive function. When civilization fails to serve, it must disintegrate unless it is acted upon by unifying internal or external forces. Earthseed, the Books of the Living. Chapter 10. When apparent stability disintegrates, as it must, God is change. People tend to give in to fear and depression, to need and greed. When no influence is strong enough to unify people, they divide. They struggle, one against one, group against group, for survival, position, power. They remember old hates and generate new ones. They create chaos and nurture it. They kill and kill and kill until they are exhausted and destroyed, until they are conquered by outside forces, or until one of them becomes a leader most will follow, or a tyrant most fear. Earthseed, the Books of the Living. Thursday, June 25th, 2026. Keith came home yesterday, bigger than ever, as tall and lean as Dad is tall and broad. He's not quite 14, but he already looks like the man he wants so much to be. We're like that, we Olaminas, tall, sturdy, fast-growing people. Except for Gregory, who is only 9, we all tower over Corey. I'm still the tallest, but my height seems to annoy her these days. She loves Keith's size, though, her big son. She just hates the fact that he doesn't live with us anymore. I got a room, he said to me yesterday. We talked, he and I. Corey was with Dorothy Cruz, who was one of her best friends and who had just had another baby. The other boys were playing in the street and on the island. Dad had gone to the college and would be gone overnight. Now, more than ever, it's safest to go out just at dawn and not to try coming home until just at dawn the next morning. That's if you have to go outside at all, which Dad does about once a week. The worst parasites still prowl at night and sleep late into the morning, yet Keith lives outside. I got a room in a building with some other people, he said. Translation: he and his friends were squatting in an abandoned building. Who were his friends? A gang? A flock of prostitutes? A bunch of astronauts flying high on drugs? A den of thieves? All of the above? Whenever he came to see us, he brought money to Corey and little gifts to Bennett and Gregory. How could he get money? There's no honest way. Do your friends know how old you are? I asked. He grinned. Hell no. Why should I tell them that? I nodded. It does help to look older sometimes. You want something to eat? You going to cook for me? I've cooked for you hundreds of times, thousands. I know, but you always had to before. Don't be stupid. You think I couldn't act the way you did? Skip out on my responsibilities if I felt like it? I don't like it. You want to eat or not? Sure. I made rabbit stew and acorn bread, enough for Corey and all the boys when they came in. He hung around and watched me work for a while, then began to talk to me. He's never done that before. We've never liked each other, he and I, but he had information I wanted, and he seemed to want to talk. I must have been the safest person he could talk to. He wasn't afraid of shocking me. He didn't much care what I thought, and he wasn't afraid I'd tell Dad or Corey anything he said. Of course I wouldn't. Why cause them pain? I've never been much for tattling on people anyway. It's just a nasty old building on the outside, he was saying of his new home. You wouldn't believe how great it looks once you go in, though. Whorehouse or spaceship? I asked. It's got stuff like you never saw, he evaded. TV windows you go through instead of sitting and looking at. Headsets, belts, and touch rings. You see and feel everything. Do anything. Anything. There's places and things you can get into with that equipment that are insane. You don't ever have to go into the street except to get food. And whoever owns this stuff took you in? I asked. Yeah. Why? He looked at me for a long time, then started to laugh. Because I can read and write, he said at last. And none of them can. They're all older than me, but not one of them can read or write anything. They stole all this great stuff and they couldn't even use it. Before I got there, they even broke some of it because they couldn't read the instructions. Corey and I had a hell of a struggle teaching him to read and write. He had been bored, impatient, anything but eager. So you read for a living, help your new friends learn to use their stolen equipment, I said. Yeah. And what else? Nothing else. What a piss-poor liar he is. Always was. He's got no conscience. He just isn't smart enough to tell convincing lies. Drugs, Keith? I asked. Prostitution? Robbery? I said nothing else. You always think you know everything. I sighed. You're not done causing Dad and Corey pain, are you? Not by a long shot. He looked as though he wanted to shout back at me or hit me. He might have done one or the other if I hadn't mentioned Corey. I don't give a shit about him, he said, his voice low and ugly. He had a man's voice already. He had everything but a man's brain. I do more for her than he does. I bring her money and nice things. And my friends know she lives here, and they let this place alone. He's nothing. I turned and looked at him and saw my father's face, lighter skinned, younger, thinner, but my father's face, unmistakable. He's you, I whispered. Every time I look at you, I see him. Every time you look at him, you see yourself. Dog shit. I shrugged. It was a long time before he spoke again. At last he said, Did he ever hit you? Not for about 5 years. Why'd he hit you back then? I thought about that and decided to tell him. He was old enough. He caught me and Reuben Quintanilla in the bushes together. Keith shouted with abrupt laughter. You and Reuben? Really? You were doing it with him? You're kidding. We were 12. What the hell? You're lucky you didn't get pregnant. I know, 12 can be a dumb age. He looked away. Bet he didn't beat you as bad as he beat me. He sent you boys over to play with the Talcots. I gave him a glass of cold orange juice and poured one for myself. I don't remember, he said. You were 9, I said. Nobody was going to tell you what was going on. As I remember, I told you I fell down the back steps. He frowned, perhaps remembering. My face had been memorable. Dad hadn't beaten me as badly as he beat Keith, but I looked worse. He should remember that. He ever beat up Mama? I shook my head. No, I've never seen any sign of it. I don't think he would. He loves her, you know. He really does. Bastard. He's our father, and he's the best man I know. Did you think that when he beat you? No, but later when I figured out how stupid I'd been, I was just glad he was so strict. And back when it happened, I was just glad he didn't quite kill me. He laughed again, twice in just a few minutes, and both times at things I'd said. Maybe he was ready to open up a little now. Tell me about the outside, I said. How do you live out there? He drained the last of his second glass of juice. I told you, I live real good out there. But how did you live when you first went out? When you went to stay? He looked at me and smiled. He smiled like that years ago when he used red ink to trick me into bleeding in empathy with a wound he didn't have. I remember that particular nasty smile. You want to go out yourself, don't you? He demanded. Someday. What, instead of marrying Curtis and having a bunch of babies? Yeah, instead of that. I wondered why you were being so nice to me. The food smelled just about ready, so I got up and took the bread from the oven and bowls from the cupboard. I was tempted to tell him to dish up his own stew, but I knew he would spoon all the meat out of the stew and leave nothing but potatoes and vegetables for the rest of us. So I served him and myself, covered the pot, left it on the lowest possible fire, and put a towel over the bread. I let him eat in peace for a while, though I thought the boys would be coming in any time now, starving. Then I was afraid to wait any longer. Talk to me, Keith, I said. I really want to know. How did you survive when you first went out there? His smile this time was less evil. Maybe the food had mellowed him. Slept in a cardboard box for 3 days and stole food, he said. I don't know why I kept going back to that box. Could have slept in any old corner. Some kids carry a piece of cardboard to sleep on, so they won't be right down on the ground, you know. Then I got a sleep sack from an old man. It was new, like he never used it. Then you stole it? He gave me a look of scorn. What you think I was going to do? I didn't have no money, just had that gun. Mama's 38. Yes, he had brought it back to her 3 visits ago, along with 2 boxes of ammunition. Of course, he never said how he got the ammunition, or how he got his replacement gun, a Heckler & Koch 9mm just like Dad's. He just showed up with things and claimed that if you had the money, you could buy anything outside. He had never admitted how he got the money. Okay, I said. So you stole a sleep sack, and you kept stealing food. It's a wonder you didn't get caught. The old guy had some money. I used it to buy food. Then I started walking toward LA. That old dream of his. For reasons that make sense to him alone, he'd always wanted to go to LA. Any sane person would be thankful for the 20 miles that separate us from that oozing Sower. There's people all over the freeway coming from LA, he said. There's even people walking up from way down in San Diego. They don't know where they're going. I talked to this guy. He said he was going to Alaska. Goddamn, Alaska. Good luck to him, I said. He's got a lot of guns to face before he gets there. He won't get there. Alaska must be 1,000 miles from here. I nodded. More than that, and with hostile state lines and borders along the way. But good luck to him anyhow. It's a goal that makes sense. He had $23,000 in his pack. I didn't say anything. I just froze, stared at him in disgust and renewed dislike. But of course. You wanted to know, he said. That's what it's like outside. If you got a gun, you're somebody. If you don't, you're shit. And a lot of people out there don't have guns. I thought most of them did, except the ones too poor to be worth robbing. I thought so too, but guns cost a lot, and it's easier to get one if you already got one, you know? What if that Alaska guy had one? You'd be dead. I sneaked up on him while he was sleeping, just sort of followed him until he went off the road to go to sleep. Then I got him. He led me away from LA, though. You shot him? The nasty smile again. He talked to you. He was friendly to you, and you shot him. What was I supposed to do? Wait for God to come and give me some money? What was I supposed to do? come home. Shit. Doesn't it even bother you that you took someone's life? You killed a man? He seemed to think about that for a while. Then he shook his head. It don't bother me, he said. I was scared at first, but then after I did it, I didn't feel nothing. Nobody saw me do it. I just took his stuff and left him there. Besides, maybe he wasn't dead. People don't always die just because you shoot them. You didn't check? I just wanted his stuff. He was crazy anyway. Alaska. I didn't say any more to him, didn't ask any more questions. He talked a little about meeting some guys and joining up with them, then discovering that even though they were all older than he was, none of them could read or write. He was a help to them. He made their lives pleasanter. Maybe that's why they didn't just wait until he was asleep and kill him and take his loot for themselves. After a while, he noticed that I wasn't saying anything, and he laughed. You better marry Curtis and make babies, he said. Out there, outside, you wouldn't last a day. That hyper-empathy shit of yours would bring you down even if nobody touched you. You think that, I said. Hey, I saw a guy get both of his eyes gouged out. After that, they set him on fire and watched him run around and scream and burn. You think you could stand to see that? Your new friends did that? I asked. Hell no. Crazies did that. Paints. They shave off all their hair, even their eyebrows, and they paint their skin green or blue or red or yellow. They eat fire and kill rich people. They do what? They take that drug that makes them like to watch fires. Sometimes a campfire or a trash fire or a house fire. Or sometimes they grab a rich guy and set him on fire. Why? I don't know. They're crazy. I heard some of them used to be rich kids, so I don't know why they hate rich people so much. That drug is bad, though. Sometimes the paints like the fire so much they get too close to it. Then their friends don't even help them. They just watch them burn. It's like, I don't know, it's like they were fucking the fire and like it was the best fuck they ever had. You've never tried it? Hell no, I told you. Those guys are crazy. You know, even the girls shave their heads. Damn, they look ugly. They're mostly kids then? Yeah, your age up to maybe 20. There's a few old ones, 25, even 30. I hear most of them don't live that long though. Corey and the boys came in at that moment, Gregory and Bennett excited because their side in soccer had won. Corey was happy and wistful, talking to Marcus about Dorothy Cruz's new baby girl. Things changed when they all saw Keith, of course, but the evening wasn't too bad. Keith had presents for the little boys, of course, and money for Corey, and nothing for Marcus and me. This time, though, he was a little shamefaced with me. Maybe I'll bring you something next time, he said. No, don't, I said, thinking of the Alaska-bound traveler. It's all right. I don't want anything. He shrugged and turned to talk to Corey.